Welcome to the fun Astrology podcast. Oh, we finally get a break. In fact, not only do we get a break from planetary action and aspects, but even the aspects are very light in the chart right now. So a much needed welcome reprieve from a lot of substantial energy that has been with us for several weeks. It's not over. We get a break. I talked about this on Saturday, but I know some of you are not into the financial aspect of things. We'll unpack September, but Mercury does go retrograde on the 9th. Venus ingresses Virgo on the 5th. And that's really it until toward the end of the month. And then we'll pick up with the Saturn-Uranus 12 days in October, the first 12 days of October, that Saturn-Uranus square. So I guess we could say that for the entire month of September, we are applying toward that. But in the meantime, we get to take a much-needed break. If you do have a question, I'd love to pop it on. We did have one from last week that I couldn't get to, and I love these kinds of messages.
Hi, Thomas. Today is a very special revolution day in my life. Today is my happy 2 full whole years sober. What a revolution it took and became and is to get here, and I'm so proud of myself, and I almost want to check the stars 2 years ago. Man, I'm so excited. So have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.
I love your enthusiasm, your contagion, and your Uranus. She sent that last week on Wednesday on the Uranus retrograde saying, wow, this was revolutionary. And you guys know where I stand on, I'm in alignment with her, but this is an individual thing, and certainly Neptune in Pisces can amplify things around drugs, alcohol, pharmaceuticals, the whole package. So I'm thrilled for you, and thank you for sharing your great news. She mentioned looking back at the chart 2 years ago. This is something you have to be called into. I mean, if you're not called into it, then you just try, or you might, dabble or play with it. But I would really suggest, if you are interested in seeing if this is something that the universe is calling you into, just experiment with it. If it's not, great. But if it is, it can, as you just heard, change your life. One aspect we still have in the separating phase is the sun is now pulling away from that exact square to Mars. I had a little close call on this one. A friend of mine here in North Carolina texted me about a mall shooting over in Raleigh. Said his wife was working in a store that afternoon and they had evacuated the mall. Well, you get on Twitter and several people said they heard bang, bang, bang. Well, now the Raleigh police say there was no gunfire, it just was a fight. Kind of makes me think of, move along, folks, nothing to see here. But that's Neptune. This would be Mars, and I am very glad that it was just a fight. And that's, in our country, in our culture today, that's a lot to say because the escalation of these things is just way far too often and too tragic. That's Mars, that's the god of war, that's the turbulence, that's the violence, that's the eruptions. That aspect was exact on Saturday. And because the sun takes 31 days to go through a sign, it's going to take these two all the way until about the middle of September. I'm looking at September 15th. Before they finally are pulled apart from each other, that tension and that frustration and that proneness to violence will be dissipated enough, at least from an astrological aspect perspective. And with so many powder kegs around the world right now, it's going to be interesting. These will be 2 weeks that I would say, if there was something in September, that the fact that Mars and the sun are going to be kind of chasing each other, or at least Mars chasing the sun. And then when you throw the fact that Mars is in Gemini, which is the twin. It's duality. It's, as somebody said over the weekend, bipolar. Yeah, on the shadow side, it absolutely could be. Now, how can you surf the positive side of that aspect? Well, anything to do with learning, knowledge, the intellect, your mind, and communications, or transportation. If you are on some project that needs to push forward, you can ride that energy. Hey, for example, here's a great example. I had been sitting there with my little video set up since I moved here in April and had not really completed it. I got it functional. Well, I got on it this past week and weekend and really put it over the top, and now I can do like the weatherman And this came from an inspiration of doing a podcast episode that's on subconscious mind mastery, talking to two listeners, Sean and Brielle, who are building this conscious community in the panhandle of Florida. They are both into astrology and are in the production business, the film business. And we were talking about that, and just the idea clicked. I'm like, wait a minute, I could put this together. And I had the room and everything to do it. So I pulled it off, got everything dialed in, and now I'm going to be doing these videos on YouTube. So you can check that out. I've already got some up. Also on TikTok, we'll be doing that too. And that's the Fun Astrology Podcast on both channels. You early birds, the moon is void of course in the Eastern time zone until 5:44 a.m. when it enters Libra, which is great because we can use that Taurian grounding to offset that Sun-Mars thing going on. So yeah, curl your toes into the earth and the soil, maybe take your shoes off, go run through the grass. Well, you in the northern hemisphere at least still. I guess you can in the southern too. Sure, do it. It might be a little chilly, but go for it. And get some good earth grounding right now. We need it. All right, have a good day. See you back tomorrow.